Ironman 70.3 is over with, at least the Arizona. My cherry has been popped. I have now officially completed one. And yes, it is a half Ironman. It's a 70.3. It's not the full, but you know what? Whatever. My goal was to get in at 6 hours. I got in at 6:01. I had to adjust some expectations. My top end goal was right around the 5 hours if you saw the other video, and I was on par to obtain that. But then as soon as I got to the run, dude, shit went sideways and I fell absolutely apart, and we'll go over that here. But I'm already planning on doing a couple more. I'd like to get to Oceanside in April, but logistically, there's a lot going on with my family. We'll see if I can make that. And then Boulder in June is what I would like to do. And big shout out to Coach Rob Beams, who has helped me throughout this whole process. Like, when I retired from racing, I kind of went to the gym once or twice, and I really didn't push myself. And because of having this goal, because we all need to have goals to obtain, and it gives things purpose, right? And he helped me, and I can't thank him enough for giving me a program and for me just embracing his ideology and whatever he had planned for me, because it helped immensely, because I thought I knew it all. Come to find out, I knew very, very little, and that was hard for me. A control freak like myself with an addictive personality, it was hard to just let go. But how did the race go? How am I recovering? Well, I'm recovering pretty good. As far as what my watch says, my training readiness, I'm still at about a 16. I've been getting decent sleep. My resting heart rate is still fairly high. I'm at 43 right now. Honestly, I'm pretty close to being back to normal. Right around 38 to 42 is really where I stay, where I've been training. And right afterwards, I jumped up to 47, which you could tell that there was some fatigue on my body. My heart rate variable was definitely on the low side, so I was definitely fatigued. But what happened with the race? If I go to the reports here, okay, my open water was a 41:30. I was actually really impressed with that, because I was up all night, because I was feeling like I was going to drown. It was nice to have that feeling again, right? Where it was, hey, there's this big quad or triple or double or whoop section I'm really nervous about. I did the track walk, and I don't know. I want to pack it in. I want to go home. All right, so this is transition. It's 5:40. Swim starts at 6:20. A lot of people here. You can say
good morning once again to everybody joining us now.
Ready.
In transition, a race start is a little over 30 minutes. Time on the Wahoo clock.
30 minutes.
To 5:45 on race day morning.
Still planning to try to
We
finish.
invite you to get your bikes ready, get your tires
would be
ready to nutrition
perfect.
on your bike, and when you're ready, you can then start making your way to the swim start area. All athletes must exit the bike park through the
because I don't want to do it. And as soon as I jumped in, I followed what my coach said. Is there was 1,500 people there. I got to the front. I pushed my way forward. There's actually a lot of the triathletes. They're pretty big dudes. I'm kind of on the smaller side. I am 55 pounds, but after the race, no kidding, I was actually 143. Like, I lost a lot. And we got into the water before the sun came up, which was incredibly nerve-wracking, but I was like the 30th in the water, and I ended up actually swimming at a 2:01 pace, which isn't horrible, right? You know, that isn't completely horrible for me. I think my best pace was right around the 1:30. You know, like, I started off and it looked like I kept changing paces for a while and slowing down and going faster, slowing down and going faster, which is interesting, you know, that's what happened. I never stopped, which was great. You know, I could work on my sighting. I definitely was getting pulled by the guys at the front. Since I was at the front, I was running with guys that were finishing in literally 25 to 30 minutes. They were pulling my ankles. They were kicking me in the face. They were smacking me. And that's what I thought I was going to panic more in the water about, having that many people around you. But no, it honestly wasn't too bad. I was kind of like the novice rider, so I just held my line and they sort of swam around me. Whenever I was swimming next to girls, it was okay, because if they hit you, they really did try to swim over the top of you. But anyway, that was the most enjoyable part of this whole thing. Actually, the bike was, but the swim, definitely running around the swim area, I wanted to get back into the water. So I've got a lot to improve here, and I think I can improve a bunch, especially with, my injuries, right? Like with the foot drop and the anchor, like I can get a little bit more range of motion. I can work on, my lats and stuff, and my pull technique and my breathing. I definitely think the breathing is where I will be the best at. But if I go back, the transition wasn't too bad, like 441. It was an easy transition. You just came out here, and my whole bike was centered right here, and then that's when we were leaving. Took me about 5 minutes. I took a breather. I wanted to take the time to get things collected, since this was my very first one. And the bike, dude, I had so much fun on the bike, if this sucker will load. The bike course had a lot of 180-degree corners. You just had to stop in 180 and a bunch of 90s. I was fairly fast on the corners and the 180s, because the bike control on a lot of the guys, I don't know, just coming from a moto background, I only have ridden my time trial bike at the Olympic I did back in June, and then one day before this race, so that I could just make sure that the brakes were right and everything was good. But I was definitely catching a bunch of people going into corners, because everyone was trying to turn like they were in a car at a 90, be in the turn lane and turn, as opposed to going outside in road race style. Even though it's a tight 90, you couldn't drift super wide, but if you came way from the outside, you could come in. And I honestly ended up having some problems where I ended up having to stop for a couple minutes, because my bottles, I was going around the corner so fast that I think it's a torpedo, whatever it is, I would pop open, and I lost about 12 ounces of water. It's got, I think, 27 ounces in it, and I really needed that, because it had about 350 calories in it for me. I had a timer on my watch to go off every 3 minutes to take a sip, because I know when I take a sip, it's about it's about an ounce of water. So I knew if I took 15 to 20 sips per hour, I'd be good. But losing that much, that didn't help me, and I think that's part of the reason why I suck so much on the run, is I just didn't have the correct amount of fuel. So that's partially why my wattage is down and everything. I know I was running, when I was in the straight lines, 24 miles an hour, and I was 220 to 260 as far as watts go. But man, it was a bummer that happened twice. I had to stop for a couple minutes each time. It was a bummer. I let a lot of guys by me, but I really had fun. I know next time I'll probably end up buying a nicer suit to help with wattage. That's not my cycling stuff, where it would catch wind, not my cycling helmet. Maybe even some aero socks to try to help save watts. So the helmet, the suit, I could probably save like 15 watts if I got all that stuff. Got a little bit more serious, but I ended up going faster each lap. It was 3 laps, which was fun. I was trying to stay right around my zone 3 on the bike, so average 156. That's pretty much where I was the entire time. And performance conditioning, I don't really know what that is. My cadence, average 66. We had a couple of hills there. That is interesting. Left to right balance. This is what was interesting for me, is my good leg ended up doing the majority of the work. It was doing about 60% of the work, and my hurt leg, the one that's got all the rods in it, was doing 42% of the work, which, that's something I can definitely improve a bunch on. I ended up taking 2 goos because I thought I was running out of energy on between hour 2 to 2:40. And that was kind of a bummer. And I need to get better at grabbing my bottle on the rear because that was hard. Every time I tried to grab the bottle on that, I slowed down considerably. It took like 30 seconds to grab that bottle, take a sip, and to put it back where I wasn't pedaling, I wasn't going forward. So I need to figure out how that happened. Maybe my bottle was too tight, and maybe there's a better technique of doing that where these guys can still kind of be in the arrow position and grab that stuff. That was too hard. The bottle on the front was easy, on the back was not. Transition to the run, I ended up crashing because I took my bottle out right around here, and I was trying to take some sips because I knew I was low on calories, and I tried putting it back in the bike, and I ended up dropping the bike like a goon. But the transition went fairly well. The run, man, oh, dude, look at that time. That time is so poor. 2:36 for a half marathon. That was awful. Completely awful. The first 2 miles, I did an 8-minute, then I did an 8:30, and after that, I just completely blew up where it just went from 9 to 10 to 11. You know, my average heart rate was 167. That is in line with my zone 3, but my zone 3 was such a poor pace. You know, like in training, I've done this in an hour and 30 minutes. And I thought I could do this in at least 145 to 150 after getting off the bike. But no, I did it in 230, which that's where the 40, 50 minutes that I thought I was going to be right around the 5 hours was from, is because I was expected to run at 8 minutes. Because I know in training, my zone 2, I'm at 7:30 to 8:30. So I thought zone 3, I could at least do 8:30, like no problem all day. But that is not what happened. You know, it was bad. It was definitely bad. Does it show my pace here? Yeah, you know, so I started off really good, and then it just went to crap. Just went bad. And that was probably because I just wasn't fueling right. So what I started to do is I started to take a goo every 3 miles, which at this pace, it was like 30 minutes, right? So 3, 6, 9, and then at mile 10, I started drinking some Red Bull because I've got some friends, Cody Williams, who can do this shit in like 4:10. He was telling me start drinking some of that stuff because it'll get you across the finish line. My coach was like, hey, as soon as you start drinking that stuff, it is going to be nitrous oxide and you're going to die. So my pace went from like, what was it? Like a 15 to 11, and then it just tanked from there. I ended up having to walk for maybe a half a mile towards the end, which was just pitiful for me. I ended up 35th in my class, and I think like 350th. If I was on par for what I wanted to do, I could have been inside the top 10, right? So I'm ready for a redo. I know the stuff I need to work on, but also, you know, the best comparison is not against others, but it's 2 year past. And now I've got a baseline, and I know where I've been. So the only way to go forward from here is up. I know what I can improve on. I know what I can do better on the bike. It has a lot to do with nutrition. It has to do with maybe a little bit more brick workouts from the bike to the run to feel how my legs are doing. And I can strengthen my right leg so it gets a little bit bigger than what it is currently, because I was trying to do that during training, but I ended up having an IT band issue where that felt like I tore my MCL again or something. It was bad. So I stopped doing the weight training, and then I had a slip disc in my back, so I couldn't continue to do any of the weight training. So there were some certain things led up to it that were a bummer, but overall, focusing on the positive, that went well for me, and I was excited for it. The run sucked. The run absolutely sucked. Started at 10 a.m. I wanted to finish at 11, ended up finishing at 12:30. So, bummer. Absolutely bummer. Well, around 11:30. It got hot. It got up to like 100 degrees, which sucked. That totally sucked. And you can see on the run, there is really no shade around that little lake. And that lake was awful. It was fairly disgusting. You couldn't see anything on it. I think I shit 4 times once I got home and the next day because of it. But this is Johnny effing Hopper. And I appreciate every single one of you that have followed the transition, not just the moto content, but, you know, just the goal of being better than what you were yesterday is what we can do. Do I want to go pro in this stuff? No, right? I don't want to put that much effort into it. I'm already putting 10 hours a week into it, which is enough, right? The YouTube stuff takes a while. The other stuff I got, you know, anyway, I'm digressing. The moral of the story is I've got a goal. I'm excited for it. I'm in as good a shape as I was when I was racing. I'm 33 years old. I retired when I was 26 because of bad injuries. I never thought I was going to walk again, right? Like, there's so much to be proud of on this. And thank you, Coach, for helping through this stuff. So if you guys want to have similar results, go to CompleteRacingSolutions.com. He's got memberships set up for weekend warriors, for triathletes, for just swimmers, for riders that are full-blown racing. You know, if you just want to work out, just want to get a little bit better fitness. He's got seminars. He's got thousands of videos. He knows his stuff. He's got a nutrition store with Coach Rob's store. Like, that stuff works. And I'm glad that I have him in my corner. You just got to put in the work, but he has it all laid out for you, and that's what I was missing with racing. Would I have been a better racer with him? Oh, F&A I would have been. Would I have been a factory rider? Probably not, because that has a lot to do with luck and talent, and those are things that I didn't have. I'm able to put in the work, but those are the couple things that might have been missing as far as being the 1% of the 1%. Anyway, till next time, this is Johnny, and keep it WFO. Ba-ra-da-da-da-da.